men slept.
My Lord.
So now while Jesus was here, he didn't lose one, but while he was ascended and he allowed men to be in charge, men slept. And when men slept, what happened is the enemy came in and sowed tares among the wheat. The servants say, do you want us to go in and take out the tares? The master says, let them grow together until the time of the harvest. And Jesus goes on to say, in the last days, the angels, the reapers, the apostles are going to go forth and they're going to sever the tares from among the wheat. They're going to sever the wicked from among the just. This is what Jesus is telling us to pray today. Pray the Lord of the harvest that he might send forth true apostles into his harvest. True apostles. The ones that he hired for a day's wage. Not the ones that call him themselves, but the ones he hired and sent in to his harvest. There are those that have been working and they've been working for a while. But there are those that Jesus is calling at the 11th hour. Jesus says, I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day, for when night comes, no man can work. What we understand about this is there is a daytime in Jewish time that consists of 12 hours. We know it from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening. And this day that he's speaking of is this time that we're in now. The time that we're in now, at the 11th hour, he calls in his apostles. In the 11th hour, his apostles go in and they work in his field. And as they're working in his field, they are harvesting the good seed. Now here's the thing, as we understand what he's saying in Matthew 13, the apostles have to go in and judge. Now we talked about this before where Paul and Paul gives us an example of how we're supposed to judge certain matters. James gives us an example of how we're supposed to judge certain matters. Our forefathers give us an example of what not to do. Because what they've said, and as I study, I understand that they weren't in position. They did not have rank. They did not have the gift to judge. Because their common theme was, we're not supposed to judge people. At one point, I thought it was something wrong with that, but as I study these parables, I understand that they were not supposed to be the ones that judged. Because Jesus says, when the wheat and the tares are separated, that constitutes a judgment. The servants said, should we go and take the tares from among the wheat? Jesus says, let them grow together until the time of the harvest. Because if you go in there, you don't have discernment enough, you don't have gifting enough, you don't have rank enough to take these tares from among the wheat. But what he says is, in the last days, the reapers are going to go forth. Speaking of the apostles are going to go forth, and they're going to take the tares, and they're going to bind them up, and they're going to put them in the pile to be burned. That speaks of judgment. That speaks of the word of the Lord that comes and calls people to be cleansed. There's a word that must go forward in this hour that we have to have. It's not a feel-good word.
My Lord.
It's a word of command.
My Lord.
It's a word of authority. It's a word of judgment. It's a word that we're not going to shout to. See, a lot of people, we go to church and we love to shout. Everybody loves a good shout, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. But what we have to understand as believers, that at a certain point, if we're going to get to the place that we need to be, we can't be tiptoeing around people not wanting to hurt folks' feelings.
Amen. Lord help us.
We got to speak a real word. And it ain't the apostle that judges. It is the word that comes out of the apostle's mouth that judges. And what has to happen for us as apostles, we got to mind ourselves. Because the principle is, the same measure you meet is going to be measured unto you. Every time you speak a word, that word measures things up. And it judges who doesn't measure up. We talked about that before. It's the word that measures. It's the word that judges. It's the truth that people are judged